this will be my last update about the update that I applied to the car recently. So as you know, if you watched my previous couple of videos, I took the car for a service, got the audio sorted, and that's really good now. That was my previous video, and I finished that video by saying actually I had another benefit from the update that I did to the car when I took it for the service, and I would share that with you. And it's a really good update, really happy with it actually. Unexpected, I didn't know it was going to do that. During the service, they seem to update the PCM with what I call the oil update, because that's really what I asked them to do, is make sure that they apply this update to notify for the quicker oil changes of the car, because it's using quite a lot of oil, well, quite a lot. But when they've updated it, they've obviously applied some other updates also to the engine, and the result is that we have a car now that actually has more pops and crackles. Now, I didn't notice it the first day because I literally picked it up from the dealer and drove around the corner to my house and I did the video. But the next day I went out in the car, I did quite a few kilometers in it, and I was just driving along and I thought, car feels and sounds a bit different. My first thing was it sounded a bit louder inside the car, strangely. Sort of like it's that induction sort of noise that you hear. People say it's piped through the speakers, but I think it's like an induction sound. So something's changed. It definitely feels a bit noisier in here more than anything else. That's the first thing I noticed. And then when I stopped somewhere, I could sort of hear the exhaust sort of burbling on idle. One of my technical descriptions. But it was sort of burbling away. I was like, did it do that before? I didn't realise. And so I sort of forgot about it. And then I was driving along, and I was in my usual sport race mode for the road, and I noticed that I was getting the pops at around 3,000, sort of 3,100 RPM, whereas before, in fact I don't know if you can hear them now, I'm doing 3.5 and you get all these pops now. See, that's 3,100, that's 3,000. So before you would get pops and crackles at 4,000 RPM, now they're kicking in at around 3,000 RPM. And not just are they kicking in earlier, there's also more of them. Here we are in a tunnel. Yeah, let's go try this baby out. I don't know if you're going to hear this or not. There's a lot of wind today. I don't know if you would have picked that up, but so the pops and crackles, they happen earlier, and there's more of them. They're really sort of like all the time. They're like, it's popping up the back there. It's quite funny actually. In fact, I was driving along and I was actually laughing to myself, this is hilarious. What a funny car. It's just like a little party going on at the back. Look, it's just constant. One of the things I noticed as well was that in normal mode you never used to get any pops at all. I mean, that's your most civilized mode. But now, it's not so civilized. Because now if you rev it to about 5,000 onwards in normal mode, you do get the pops and crackles. And that definitely didn't happen before. I think the other thing as well, because then I thought, okay, am I just going mad? Am I imagining all this? I'd sort of noticed them during the day at different times, at different points. I've noticed that it seemed a bit louder in the car. I noticed that on idle it sounded a bit different. It sort of sounded a bit unstable at idle. You know, like like some cars do, you know, some like a rally car where it sort of sounds a little bit sort of unsteady, and it sort of sounded like that, and it sort of just picked it up, but I hadn't really thought about it too much. I just thought, well, I'm sure it didn't sound like that before. Just to add to all of that, the car feels a little bit more urgent. Come on, get out of my way. Seriously? People just sit in the fast lane. Okay, it's not the fast lane, it's the outside lane, but still. Don't they know I've got an RS? Actually, I'm doing the speed limit. I am doing the speed limit. The car definitely feels a little bit more aggressive, sort of more, but it's as if the engine is slightly more responsive. I mean, it was very responsive before, but I think it feels a little bit more responsive to me anyway. I just wonder whether it's all in my head, but I'm definitely, because I picked all these things up during the day, I was like, I definitely didn't feel like that before. And then it seems like the pickup is just that little bit better. So obviously, Ford have done something. They've obviously realised that the original tune wasn't maybe quite there, and when I've gone to take the car for its service, they've applied whatever updates they had available, and it has actually made the car that little bit more fun, actually, with these extra sounds and the extra feel to the urgency. What I perceive as more noise within the car as well, which I actually wanted, although sometimes it's a little bit boomy, which I didn't feel like that before, so odd. The other interesting thing as well is that on one of the forums, I think it's the UK forum for the RS, there is a big discussion about whether this car veers to the left or the right under hard acceleration, maybe in like third gear. And I have had that 2 or 3 times in the past, and I used to get it particularly on a road where if you overtook a car, you would get this, like, it felt like you were being pulled to one side, a bit like a torque steer. But it's probably not torque steer, it's just the 4-wheel drive system maybe getting slightly confused or trying to compensate for your manoeuvre. So anyway, I quite liked it in a way. You sort of felt like you were wrestling the car, especially when you're overtaken and the car's like going, ooh, and you're like, oh, I need to wrestle it and keep it in line. But I was on this road the other day where I used to get this feeling when overtaking cars, and it's a road where you have to overtake all the time. It's just such a nightmare road, and you're always overtaking really, really slow cars. And I was on there the other day, and I didn't realise, but at the end of that whole journey, I'd been up that road 4 times that day, and not once did I get that feeling that the car was doing that pull to one side at all. So I don't know whether it's tyre related because I'm running the Cup 2s, but something has changed where the car doesn't do that pull anymore. I didn't get it very often at all, but I always got it on that road, but it doesn't seem to do that now. So I don't know whether it's the update or the tyres that have affected that and helped address that problem, what people perceived as a problem. But something's definitely changed there. So overall, you take your time for a service, get all these updates done, and you should end up with this car which is just that little bit more fun again. So this is the car that keeps on giving. It's just, there's no limits to it, and especially now with these extra pops and crackles, because it's just hilarious. It just puts a big smile on your face every time you're just like going along. Hope you liked the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you did, please, because apparently that helps for YouTube to share it and other people will then see it. And I'll see you very soon.